The mysterious message, asterisk, asterisk. It was the summer of 1963, a particularly hot day in Washington, D.C. The kind of day where sweat clings to your skin and the air is thick with humidity. Inside the White House, a high-level meeting was underway in the Oval Office. President John F. Kennedy, just days away from a major speech in Berlin, was deep in conversation with his closest advisors when the phone rang. The president picked it up, his face unreadable as he listened for several minutes. He hung up the receiver without a word and turned to his team. "We've got a problem," he said quietly. "Something's brewing overseas, and it doesn't look good." The advisors exchanged worried glances. The Cold War had created an atmosphere of constant tension, but there was something different in Kennedy's tone. This wasn't just another diplomatic issue or spy game. This felt urgent. Kennedy stood up, walking over to the windows. Outside, the sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the lawn. He thought about the stakes, his presidency, his legacy, the future of the country. Everything could change in the next few hours. The silent alarm, asterisk, asterisk. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the president's national security advisor, McGeorge Bundy, entered the room with an unmarked envelope. Kennedy took it with a sense of grim anticipation. There had been whispers in the halls of power for days about a possible threat, one that could shatter the peace that had held since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Bundy handed Kennedy the envelope. It was a dispatch from an intelligence source, marked top secret. Kennedy unfolded the message. His eyes scanned the text quickly, his lips barely moving as he read the contents. It was a brief summary of a series of strange, uncoordinated events happening in Cuba. Intelligence suggested that something significant was in motion, but they couldn't yet make sense of it. But there was one line that chilled him. Possible coup attempt. Time window, 72 hours. "Give me the CIA," Kennedy ordered, his voice steady but urgent. "We need to know exactly what's going on, and we need to know now." The clock ticks down asterisk asterisk. By 9 p.m., the tension in the White House was palpable. Kennedy sat in the Situation Room, surrounded by his advisors and a team of intelligence officers. They were tracking developments in Cuba and speaking with agents who had been monitoring the activities of Cuban officials. The information was sparse, disjointed, and inconclusive. The clock on the wall ticked louder with every passing minute. Each tick felt like it carried the weight of the nation's future. Then came the call. It was from a CIA operative in Havana. "There's a man," the agent reported, "an unknown figure. We've spotted him moving in and out of military facilities. He's meeting with officers, high-ranking officials. His movements are erratic, but he's certainly not acting like a normal civilian. He's planning something." The agent couldn't say more. The line went dead. Kennedy turned to Bundy, who was standing by the large map on the wall. "This could be it, couldn't it?" the president asked. "This could be the event that escalates everything into an all-out conflict." Bundy didn't answer. The silence between them spoke volumes. The countdown asterisk asterisk. The clock struck 10 p.m., and the room was still. Everyone was waiting for something, anything, that would tell them how to act. Kennedy knew the risks. A misstep could plunge the nation into war, a nuclear war. But Cuba was a powder keg, and whatever was happening there now could light the fuse. The president stood up, walking towards the window once more. He looked out at the city of Washington, bathed in the soft glow of streetlights. It was hard to believe that just a few years ago, he had been standing at the same window, thinking about the Cuban Missile Crisis. They had come so close to the edge then, and now it felt like they might be on the brink again. The call to action, asterisk asterisk. At 10:45 p.m., the phone rang again. Kennedy's hand trembled slightly as he picked it up. The voice on the other end was calm, but urgent. "Mr. President, we've confirmed it," the CIA officer said. "The man you've been hearing about. He's not Cuban. He's American." Kennedy froze. "He's an American?" he repeated, his voice almost a whisper. What is he doing there? The man is a defected CIA agent, the officer continued. He's been working with Cuban officials, feeding them intelligence that could help them destabilize the government. We believe he's been orchestrating a coup attempt. The room went still. The president exchanged looks with Bundy and his other advisors. A coup attempt in Cuba. But the person behind it was an American? Kennedy felt a cold sweat on his brow. This wasn't just a foreign crisis anymore. This was something much more personal. He had trusted the CIA. He had trusted his own people. And now, one of them was about to destroy everything. The twist asterisk asterisk. At 10:59 p.m., the final revelation came. Another report came in, this time from a high-level source within the Cuban government. It turned out the coup wasn't aimed at overthrowing the Cuban government at all. No, the target was much closer to home. The CIA agent who had defected. He wasn't working with the Cuban government. He wasn't attempting to overthrow Castro. He was planning an assassination. The target? John F. Kennedy. Epilogue. The final hour. As the president processed the information, the weight of the last hours settled in. He had been caught in a web of deception, betrayal, and an enemy he had never suspected. The assassin was closer than anyone realized, perhaps even within the walls of the White House itself. The clock struck 11 p.m., and Kennedy ordered a full investigation. A mole within the CIA, no one knew who yet, had been feeding information to Cuba, and the plot to take his life had been set in motion weeks ago. The next few hours would be critical in stopping it. But the events of that summer night would lead to something far greater, a moment that would change the course of history forever. Not just the revelation of a plot against the president, but the consequences of the Cold War itself, the choices made in secrecy, and the assassination that would forever haunt the nation. The last hour had been the beginning of the end.